Hi, and this is the third video in a series in which we continue working on our servers. As in the previous video related to the static addressing, to make it easier for you, I will put underneath the history of comments I typed and links to articles I used to create this episode. This time we will want to configure our main server as a DNS or DHCP server. We will later check if the client is able to receive the IP address by just using the ping and the name of the main server, and if it will dynamically obtain the IP address. I hope you have persevered with the expectations or checked with your servers and get a similar result, which is shown on the screen in the form of two-way pings. Now let's move on to the configuration of the DNS server. All the steps are taken from the root level. Let's start by installing dnsmasq by typing dnf install dnsmasq in the terminal. We can now start our service with systemctl start dnsmasq.service. And then make it run with system startup by using systemctl enable dnsmasq. Let's check the current status using systemctl status dnsmasq service. We can read that the etc resolv.conf file is being read and the 192.168.11 and 8888 name server we entered previously is being used. Now let's go to the dnsmasq configuration file using vi etc dnsmasq.conf. We opened the configuration file in the vi editor. To make it easier to navigate by typing :set number, I made it display the line numbers. Confirm the change with enter. I navigate through the lines using the up or down arrows on the keyboard. To find the place of text I am interested in, I type /example search phrase on the keyboard. We are now looking for the line associated with the interface using /interface. We want only NP0S8 used within the internal network to listen for requests. With this solution, hosts outside the internal network, despite trying to send a request, will not receive a response and will be treated as unknown machines. When we get to the relevant line, E key to enable insertion of text type from the keyboard. Now we type interface equal np0s8. After typing the text, press escape to cancel further typing and go back to the preview mode. We are now looking for the /expand hosts option and uncomment it. This will add the domain to /etc/hosts. Now using /domain, we will add our own domain. In my case, it will be domain equal patryk.edu, because I hope I am fulfilling my educational value here. We will still add two Google DNS servers in this file using server equal 8888 and server equal 8884. We will also add the IP address of our main server, to which hosts in the domain will be redirected after the typing its name using address equal /patryk.edu /172.80.21.1. Now let's save the changes we made and exit the VI editor using :wq. Let's check for syntax error in our configuration by typing dnsmasq-test. So far everything is going very well. Let's go to the file where the domain server information is placed. vi atc resolv.conf. Since we already have dnsmasq reference to Google servers, we can remove unnecessary entries. To delete an entries line in vi, just quickly press DD on your keyboard. After removing unnecessary entries, let's add the logical address of the NP0S8 interface used in the internal network by typing nameserver 172.80.21.1. Now we will use the command chattr +e it's a resolv.conf so that nothing accidentally overwrites our file. And we will verify it with lsattr etc resolv.conf. Now let's go to vi etc hosts to enter information about the addresses and names of the servers in our network. I separate the entries with a tab to make it easier to read. So let's type 172.80.21.1 server.patryk.edu server and 172.80.21.21 client.patryk.edu client. After those changes, let's start dnsmasq using systemctl restart dnsmasq. Let's add a rule on the firewall -cmd -add -service equal dns -permanent and firewall-cmd -add -service equal DHCP -permanent. Let's reload the firewall settings with firewall-cmd -reload. Let's now check our changes by typing nslookup.patryk.edu. It returns the address of our NP0S8 interface. Similarly, dig.patryk.edu returns a response with our address. Let's perform similar operation by adding the name of our server nslookup server.patryk.edu and dig server.patryk.edu. The response meets with our expectations. At least works for me. Let's add DHCP to our configuration. To do so, we will edit the vi etc dnsmasq.conf file again. Let's determine the range of addresses to be assigned. For the purpose of seeing difference from the static address, 172.80.21.21 assigned previously to the client, we will start with .13 by typing dhcp-range equal 172.18.21.13 172.18.21.230, 12h. We set the range between .30 and .230 and the release time of the dynamic address to 12 hours. Let's uncomment the section related to the file /dhcp list file, which will store information about which client hosts lists which IP address. Let's uncomment another section. This time it's DHCP authoritative. Thanks to this mode, if the client lists an address from the previous network, which is out of our scope, it will be forced to change this address. After some time, it will receive an address from the pool overwriting the incompatible entry, instead of receiving a timeout message when trying to connect to the server. After these changes, let's restart dnsmasq again. Now let's move on to the client-side configuration. Since we previously had the ability to ping our primary server by IP address, let's verify that dnsmasq is already functioning properly. Let's type nslookup server.patryk.edu or nslookup.patryk.edu. As we can see, after asking by name, we get the IP address of the NP0S8 port of the main server used for our internal network. Similarly, in the case of server.patryk.edu, we get the same query result. To make sure that data about the domain server is preserved, let's add an entry about it to the network manager using the command nmc connection modify np0s8 ip4.dns 172.18.21.1. Now we will want to retrieve a dynamic IP address. To do this, let's change the addressing method of our interface from static to dynamic. To do this, let's type nmc connection modify np0s8 ip4.method auto and reset our connection by turning the interface off and on. Let's disable the interface using nmc connection down np0s8 and enable it by typing nmc connection up np0s8. Now let's check our changes by typing ipaddr. We will notice that an additional address from the dynamic pool 172.80.21.130 has appeared for np0s8. Compared to the static address assigned earlier, it has additional information about the expected list time of this address given in seconds. Using nmc device show, we will display ourselves more details about the interface. From there, we will read information about IP addresses and the DNS server and domain for our interface. it remains for us to ping both machines from the client terminal. Let's type ping server, and we will see that the address intended for our main server is being queried. From the master server terminal, we can query the client itself by typing ping client. You can check on your own on the main server the data contained in the list file, for example with cat, in the location /var/lib/dnsmasq/dnsmasq.service. Yeah, that's all for today. Thank you sincerely for your time. If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to share them below. Just at the end of the video editing, I noticed that when writing a script in a text editor, 2 hyphens are treated as a pause sign. So that's the longer hyphen, not the double 2 short hyphens. So pay attention to what I'm typing in the terminal primarily, and look at the description for comments below. Thanks.